Welcome to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, where you get advice you can trust. From home selling tips to investing, this is the talk show that will help you make the most money when selling your most valuable asset and save the most money when buying. Now here are your hosts, Dave McKay, along with Wally Kerr, broker and founder of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty in Oklahoma City.
Well, good morning and welcome to today's show. It's sponsored by Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage and Best Protect Roofing and Construction. I'm Dave McKay. With me, as always, is Wally and Cindy Kerr. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Doing great, Dave. You just mentioned Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. Boy,
Yes.
We've been using him a lot. Remember, he's a partner. He's not just an advertiser.
Yes.
Yeah, they sponsor our show, but we picked a couple of sponsors that we knew our customers could turn to when they needed help. We've got Chris a lot busier than he was 3 or 4 months ago because
Okay.
it's buying and selling season, right,
Yes.
Cindy? So he's doing a great job for our customers with some of the lowest rates that we can find in the marketplace, along with just exceptional service and communication. Gosh, that's what I love the most about working with Chris. Same way with Alan Cook with Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Yes.
And because our listings are kind of jumping off the market, we're putting them up, and the good ones that are priced right, prepped well, great consultation with those owners and a clear understanding of what it's going to take to sell a home. Those are selling, and we've got a couple of homes that have had a few roof issues come in. Boy, Alan has been awesome about running over and looking at the houses we have listed for sale, and also the home buyers that we're working with and getting a good, thorough inspection with lots of pictures. So I just want to say again, because we've said it before, these are partners, not just advertisers. And so
Yes.
if you need a mortgage, or if you need construction done on your home, fix-ups, repairs, you need roofing from a company that is reputable and local, these are great guys to work with.
Yes, they're trusted professionals, and with your experience with them, it's made your job easier. And that's what you want. If you're a client or a customer of theirs, you want the whole process to be easy, and that's what they do.
You know, you're right, and we're not roofers. So we can look at a roof from the ground, but boy, having a professional be able to give us an opinion is so important.
Yeah, I got in a lot of trouble when I had Cindy up on the roof with a tool belt on, and she was working on the roof, and my neighbors didn't like that at all. So so that didn't go over very well, and I'm not
You wanted to dress
recommend
her
that.
up as your little co-host from Tool Time
Yeah,
back
there
in the
you
day.
go.
The Tool Man Taylor, his little sidekick. Well, speaking of working with professionals, you're looking to bring some professionals on board. And did I hear you say, like before we came on this morning, you mentioned $60,000 guaranteed you are offering for some people to come on and work with Kerr Team?
If you are an experienced agent in the business, let's say that you've closed at least 6 to 8 transactions. Right now, Cindy and I are offering a guaranteed minimum income of $60,000. Now, that's in your pocket. That doesn't mean you go do advertising expenses above that. Look, you pay for the gas you put in your tank, you pay for your MLS fees, and you pay for your business cards. And we're going to put you into a slot with us where you will put $60,000 in your bank account, guaranteed, or we will pay them the difference. And we're looking for several agents right now, Dave, to join our team. So if you're listening and you're a little bit concerned about this market and how interest rates just have fewer buyers in the marketplace right now, and I also want them to remember, if you're listening and hearing me now, this is a great time of year, right?
Yes.
It's home buying and selling season. But what happens when school starts, Cindy?
Well, you know, there can be ups and downs in our careers. So it's really surviving those ups and downs. And when school starts, it can slow at that point.
Dave, we've done 15 months of shows together here.
Yes.
And you've seen me say there are peaks and valleys inside the real estate
Oh,
business.
yes.
And that's difficult for a lot of agents to endure, is the ups and downs and the roller coaster income. So if you're interested, give me a call, 330-3000, and I'll be glad to visit with you confidentially no matter what brokerage you currently work at now.
Great. Let's talk about the topics on today's show. What do we have in store for our listeners?
Well, Dave, we are, because of the time of year and because a lot of sellers, you were telling me about some people you know who have had their house on the market about 60 days with not any offers or great activity thus
Yes.
far. And so I know they were tied to another realtor that was a family friend.
Yes.
We're going to talk today about how to help our home sellers succeed and sell for more in this current challenged market where interest rates are higher, because that certainly had an effect on the marketplace
Yes.
with affordability. Got some of those fun and interesting facts for you and Cindy.
Okay.
Going to stick you on the hot
All
seat
right.
again with a couple of good questions. And also, Dave, an update on the possible ban on Wall Street investors that have been buying homes in our local market for, say, the last 10 years.
Yes.
And there's some legislation that has been proposed that's very, very interesting. You'll want to hear about that today. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about what the Fed said this last week when they met on Tuesday and Wednesday. Fast-moving show, and I've got my weekly wisdom for our listeners. So looking forward to another great show with you today.
That's great. And don't forget, our show repeats at Sundays at noon. So if you can't stay with us this entire hour, tune in tomorrow at noon. And of course, if you're joining us Sundays at noon and you didn't get the whole show, be sure to check in with WallyTalksHouses.com. Probably about Wednesday is when that weekend show has been posted. But all of the old shows over the past 15 months have been posted there. And of course, all the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes,
Google.
Google.
The shows are there.
Podchaser.
Podbean. B-E-A-N.
Okay.
Well, let's make it real easy. So if you go in and subscribe, go to the website, WallyTalksHouses.com.
Yes.
Little green button up at the top that says subscribe. The marketing department takes the show you hear on the weekend. They post it on the Podbean platform every Wednesday.
Okay.
You'll just get a notification by text or email.
How easy
that
is
there's
that?
a show there.
Yeah.
If you don't have time for it, just delete it. But you'll get that each week, and you can stay in touch with what we're talking about here.
All right, stick around. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
So you thought interest rates were going to go down? Hey, me too. It's Wally Kerr, and despite today's interest rates, the market's already picking up. Why sell your home without a safety net? It's like walking a high wire at the circus. There's just too much at stake. Call me to get your written guarantee that I'll sell your home in an agreed period or buy it myself at a price you and I agree to up front. Ask for Wally when you call us today at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233. Equal housing lender.
Who do you know that's struggling with their real estate career? I'm offering a guaranteed income of $60,000 over the next 12 months, or I'll pay them the difference. Have them call Wally at 330-3000 today, because Wally has the buyers at Kerr Team Real Estate. 330-3000.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Well, Wally and Cindy, as we begin the meat of the show, if you will, we're going to jump right on into open houses. Sometimes we kind of get to that towards the back 40, the last third of the show, but we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. And what do you have to offer?
So we've got 4 houses. We're all across the metro this weekend. Northwest Oklahoma City, 6213 Winchester Drive is in the Warwick Edition. You know where that is, Dave, right off of MacArthur and Northwest 122nd.
Yes.
So be just to the west, and this house on Winchester is just remodeled. It's 3,000 feet with a primary suite upstairs and a primary suite downstairs.
Oh, nice.
And then 2 additional bedrooms, big family room, nice yard that almost backs a greenbelt. This is 3,000 feet. It's priced at $425,000. Now, Dave, unless it sells before tomorrow, okay, it's $425,000 and open 2 to 4 Sunday. I recommend our listeners always go online and Google the address that we give her on the air.
Okay.
Because we did have one a couple of weeks ago. We talked about it here live on the show on Saturday, but that home sold on Saturday night.
Oh, wow.
And nobody called and said, hey, how come you aren't over here, right?
Yes.
But we want to make sure our listeners know that we are in the busy selling season.
Yes.
And sometimes a home will sell within 24
That's
hours.
right.
So be sure and do that. In more, we'll be at this big, beautiful home we have. It's been reduced $50,000 at 3605 Joshua Lane,
Okay.
nearly 5,000 feet. This is a 4-bed with 2 studies inside the property, one for the parents and one for the
Okay.
kids. The
Yes.
kids' study overlooks the swimming lake with their own beach.
That's the one with the lake. Yes.
It is.
You know, I love that house. It has a wall of windows in the back that overlook this lake. The kitchen is it's a very open floor plan, kitchen to living to eating area. It's just such a pleasant house for a family.
Ooh, that's got a chef's kitchen. Double ovens,
Yes.
convection, warming drawer, the pot filler. It's got a gas cooktop, and it's got a massive amount of cabinetry and counter space, and a great primary suite.
Okay.
Outdoor fireplace, one in the primary suite and one in the living room, and then a great media room upstairs. So this home is $925,000. And again, that's in 3605 Joshua Lane, open from 2 to 4 with Jennifer Wilcox. Dave, I'll be at 1200 Southern Hills. These owners have become very motivated to sell. It's up at that upper price point and it's taken a little bit longer. 2 acres, backing the 9-hole golf course. So grab your clubs and come on out, Dave.
Yeah.
That's in Norman, right?
It is. 1200 Southern Hills is in Norman, open 2 to 4. So come see me. Spa, hot tub, 5,200 feet. That house is now $895. That's a really, really great buy. Come and bring your checkbook and let's bang out a deal because the owners are ready to sell it.
Another house that's got a wall of windows in the back that overlook a pool, spa, and golf course. It is so gorgeous.
1508 Southwest 163rd will be open with Cody Crawford from 2 to 4, and that is in the Westmore School District. That's a beautiful 2-year-old home priced well below what the builder will build it for today, and it's only 2 years old and like brand new. I believe that home's been reduced to about $385,000 now. It's between 2,000 and 2,100 feet. If you're looking for a great location, that's in Native Plains. And so whether you work in South Oklahoma City, Moore, Norman, or Northwest Oklahoma City, the access to either I-35 or I-44 is really, really easy. So all of those will be open. Come out and see us this weekend.
That's right, because next weekend is Mother's Day, and
It is.
I have a feeling that we're going to be celebrating moms, and we might take a little weekend off from going out and checking out those homes, unless you want to buy mom a home on Mother's Day. I don't know who's going to be doing
With a
that.
pool
but
and a
yes.
golf course
Well,
view.
yes,
My mom's in a home she doesn't really need right now.
Okay.
Actually, it's been decided by my 2 sisters and me that she won't be living in her home anymore. She'll get to visit it.
Okay.
But mom's getting to those days where she needs to be living with family. And moms are special, aren't they, Cindy?
You know, I lost my mom when I was young, and I have no siblings. So it's been so special to have kids. I love Mother's Day. Of course, it's a gorgeous time of year, flowers, and it feels like so much love as a mom. I just love this holiday.
Dave, did you know that Anna Jarvis created Mother's Day as a holiday? She envisioned it as a holiday in 1908.
Okay.
And Woodrow Wilson made it a national holiday 6 years later.
Huh.
She had no children of her own, and she conceived Mother's Day as an occasion for honoring the sacrifices that individual mothers made for their children.
I'm glad she did, too.
I mean, I thought it was Hallmark, but I like this story better.
That, too.
So, and you know, we were laughing too. Isn't it funny how Mother's Day, everybody goes and sees their mom, right?
Yes.
I mean, I know
And
friends.
gifts and flowers and...
Yeah, and I know friends that have flown across the country to see their mom
Yes.
on Mother's Day, especially later in the years. Isn't it funny how Dad just a lot of times gets a card?
Yes,
You know,
and
it's
a
card by-
tie.
if he's lucky.
Maybe.
Right.
He's more
Yes.
likely to take the family to lunch or dinner and get the tab, you know,
Yeah,
instead
that's
of a
right.
card. So my most memorable Mother's Day with my mom was when I was in my 20s, which was a few years ago. She always wanted to ride in a hot air balloon. And my dad had told us about the whole thing. And so all of a sudden, here comes this truck and set up in my mom's front yard, and they aired up a hot air balloon in the yard. And Mom got in the basket, and they took Mom for a 2-hour balloon ride all across North Norman. Of course, they had to stay away from the airport area.
Yes.
And I was kind of a young photojournalist at that time and did a
Okay.
cool little clip. But that is by far the most memorable Mother's Day that I can remember. Any memorable Mother's Day really come to you? Something you did for your mom?
I think there's one. Right now, she lives out of state, so I send flowers and little gifts like that. One year, she was really into Volkswagens and Volkswagen Bugs. She's always loved those. Still has one right now that she drives around.
Really?
in. So when the new models came out, I think in the 90s or so, a friend of mine at a local dealership in town lent me one. So on Mother's Day, I was able to show up with it, and it was her present to drive it around for a week. I was able to let her,
Did you get
drive around
pictures
in it.
of her in
yes,
it?
Oh, yes.
I love it.
And you know, my friend knew what he was doing because it wasn't a couple months after that she went down and bought one.
Really?
A friend of mine at the dealership. So that was a pretty special one. That was a
Now,
pretty
Cindy,
good one.
you owned a few Volkswagens back in the day, didn't
I
you?
did, and that reminded me of my best friend Mary growing up. Of course, I was an only child, so I love this story. My friend Mary, there were 6 kids. I loved going to her house, and we were teenagers, and her dad bought all these Volkswagens in different colors for all the kids, and he put all the keys up on a pegboard. And when it was time to go anywhere, you just went and got the key off the pegboard, and whatever Volkswagen was there, you got in and drove it.
wow.
There was a yellow one, a bronze one, a blue one. Even her mother and dad had one.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Love that. We just wanted to talk about Mother's Day today. It's a week out, but I know that some of our listeners might be traveling next week, might not have a chance to listen to the show. So at least in advance, happy Mother's Day
Yes.
to all of our listeners. If you still have your mom, and if not, I hope that you have the dearest memories of your mom and special times. And what I might ask you to do is just sit for a minute and recall your favorite story or your favorite Mother's Day. So again, to our listeners, happy Mother's Day for next week.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, let's jump right into our first House Talk segment of the day with you and Cindy. There was more news on the economic front this week. A Fed meeting this week, is that right? And
Yeah.
what does that mean for us?
That's right, Dave. So we'll keep it simple here and stick around to the end of the show, and we'll talk just a little bit more because the Fed meets for 2 days.
Okay.
So it's certainly not just a meeting of 15 minutes where they say, let's raise the rates, let's lower the rate, let's leave it the same. They did leave it the same. So the Fed met along with Jerome Powell this last week. Interest rates, Dave, don't appear they're going to go down. I don't know whether they could go up or not, but we're still in a strong economy. And so they did leave the rate the same this past week, which means there should really be no negative effect or positive effect on interest rates because it was expected anyway.
So how much has that slowed the market if it just stays that way, or has it slowed the market?
You know, that's a really good question. I think what we're seeing more than anything is there aren't as many buyers this year. So let's help our home sellers remember a couple of things that are really important this time of year. First of all, be flexible with showings. That's something we tell our home sellers to do, is when they get a request for their home to be shown, and they get it electronically. We provide really cool software to where they can get a text message and either confirm a showing, deny a showing, or change that showing time. But you have to remember, if a realtor like us is out and maybe we're showing a buyer homes for 2 or 3 hours, we're kind of trying to set them up in line, but also geographically to where we're not running from the east side of Oklahoma City to the west side of Oklahoma City and then back to the east side, right? You remember how it was when we looked at homes. We do a nice geographic tour. So make sure that buyers can see your property at their convenience.
That's right.
And that means being available for your home to be shown during the day. And this time of year, Cindy, people will look at homes into the evenings, won't they?
That's right. You know, when it's dark in the wintertime, maybe not as late. But, you know, it reminds me of a home seller that I had in Norman who had young children, preschool children. She was very motivated to sell her house because her husband had already gotten his job transfer and left. So she was there with the kiddos. So every morning she got up, got those little kiddos dressed, and took them to the mall, to the little play area. And anytime during the day, she was just ready to show that house. She made it very convenient.
Cindy, that reminded me of the house where you helped the lady, and she was in business, and she bought her home. And Dave, 3 weeks after she closed, she got a job transfer. She goes through all of this move, sells her home, buys a home. Now she has to turn around and go through the process. Good news, she hadn't unpacked all of her boxes, you know?
Yes.
So do try to accommodate buyers, because you don't want to miss out on a potential sale just because you won't show your home. And Dave, that goes along with pets. So, we love our pets. We're animal lovers. We have horses. We lost our dog. We have a couple of cats. And you get a little bit worried about, what if I'm not home to go in and corral my pets and make sure they're going to be safe? But you got to be careful there by saying, I'm not going to show it because I can't go home and take care of my pets. I would definitely recommend that you arrange for a family member or a friend to try to help out. Even if it's just a matter of the family member or friend maybe going over to your home when it's being shown to make sure that the doors are shut and that a pet doesn't get outside. But we do see, over the years, I've seen a lot of sellers, right, Cindy, that are structuring their showings around what they can do with their pets. And you have to be careful that your home doesn't sit longer and not sell because of the pets and the situation with pets.
We've had such funny stories over the years. Do you remember that one, Wally, where the people were getting a divorce, and the big thing they were worried about was their parakeet and their parakeet being disrupted? Do you remember that?
Absolutely, 100%. What about that showing that you had, and there was like a dog in the backyard in the bushes? Do you remember that?
That was not my listing, but I can tell you no arrangements were made for that dog, and they should have been, because it was a vicious dog.
Oh, no.
So my client and I walked in the backyard, and this dog had backed up into the bushes, and you could not see that dog. And all of a sudden, that dog came running at us, teeth blaring. My client and I ran back in the house, almost toppled on each other, slammed the door, and my client said to me, I think I need to change my underwear.
How scary is that?
It was awful. I called that listing realtor, said, you need to have a sign on the door and remarks on the Realtor MLS.
Okay, so maybe you're laughing along with us, but here's the gig, Dave. These are true stories.
Yes.
I bet that your buyer, even if she loved the home, would never have gone back and bought that property.
That was awful.
So think about those things, and also be patient and realistic, knowing that this is a little bit slower real estate market because there are fewer buyers this year.
Yes.
Fewer buyers can qualify for what they could have bought a year or a year and a half ago with rates higher. But then also remember that certain price ranges are still very hot. I would say, generally speaking, this time of year when it's the busiest, say 300,000 and below is going to be pretty darn hot right now. But 500, 550, 600, 700, 800, those price ranges may not be as hot as they were before because of higher rates. So the strongest way to empower your home sale is just by offering it and making it easier for a buyer to buy it, right? The easier the home is to buy, the more lookers you're going to have. And that's why our Guaranteed Home Sale program, Dave, was created, because homeowners today who are looking to buy, they're hesitant to go put their home on the market. They're afraid it's just going to sell and they're not going to have a suitable replacement home. Once they find that replacement home, now they get in a real hurry to sell their property.
Yes.
So the difficulty is they own a home. Now they go out to an open house and they find the home they want. And they say, wow, this is a great home. It's priced right. It's the area we want. It's near a school. It's near a park. It's near shopping. It's exactly what we want.
The floor plan is perfect.
Yeah.
2 offices.
But we own a home now.
Yes.
And there's probably other people that also think this is a great home. So we're probably going to lose out because we're going to have to write a contingent offer.
Not if they utilize our guaranteed sale program.
Not if they use our program, and that's why we designed it, is that if you have a home to sell first, you don't want to get beat out by a non-contingent buyer. Our program says we're willing to guarantee a price that is agreeable to the seller, something we agree to upfront with them, if it's not sold in an agreed period. So we step in and buy their home, and they get to buy the home that they want. So call me. We can typically do guarantees that are as short as about 70 days. So if you were going to go out, Dave, and buy a home today and you say, you know, Wally, I think I might be able to negotiate with these people for maybe a 70, 75, 90-day closing, Could you write me a guarantee, Wally, that says if I don't have my home sold in that period and you put it on the market, that you and Cindy will step in and buy it? And that's how our program works.
And it'll be at a price that we agree to up front. It's a very transparent program.
That's right. And now let's go to a different situation. We know a lot of our listeners are a little bit older, and so they might own a home free and clear. Let's call them empty nesters. The kids have moved out. Maybe you're still married. Maybe you've lost your spouse. And so you own a home that's free and clear. Perhaps that home is going to exceed the value where you might have to pay taxes on your sale proceeds. No taxes would be paid unless there was at least a $500,000 gain. But for some people, that's a possibility. Maybe you've got a home in Nichols Hills you've owned for many years, and that average sales price in Nichols Hills is higher. Maybe it's Oak Tree. Maybe it's in Gaillardia. You might want to consider doing an owner carry or seller financing all or part of your purchase price. Let's say I own $1 million home, Dave, and I want $500,000 now so that I don't have any taxation on that money. Okay. But then I'm willing to go take the other $300,000 of sales price if it's an $800,000 home, and maybe I want to carry that payment for a buyer and have them pay me out over 5 or 10 years. I take a monthly payment. I don't take too much income in a year's time. Now I don't have capital gains on that money.
I've never heard of that.
So this is seller financing, and you probably, if you're listening and that's you know what I'm talking about. So call us for a consultation at 330-3000, and we can help.
That's right. And also in discussing a little bit more challenging market, there's staging to be considered. Whether it's virtual staging where we put in computer-generated furniture, decor, rugs, or whether it's services that we know of that will actually move in furniture. These are all things that make a great first impression and really help when you're in a little more challenged market.
Well, you've mentioned this before, Cindy, how important first impressions are.
It's looking at the computer and looking at those pictures and making your selection for the first cut right there.
So yes, whether you're searching for a house or if it's wisdom you're searching for instead, we have it here each and every week. See what I did there? Wally's Weekly Wisdom is coming up next. Stick around. We're back in 2 minutes.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
Have you heard the news? The Fed says rates will be higher for longer, so waiting to buy or sell a home no longer makes sense because competition increases in the spring for both home buyers and for home sellers too. If you'll be selling, get my guarantee in writing to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it myself. Wally has the buyers. Call me today at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000 and start packing. That's 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
We're back, and Wally, I want you to know that I'm definitely wiser from your wisdom.
Good
from
thing.
Doing the show with you for over 15 months now. I have really just through osmosis.
Yes.
I guess maybe that
You
way.
sound smart.
It's these donuts we're eating together.
Yeah,
that's just
that's
a
right.
box of real estate knowledge. So, and you keep going for that Bavarian cream, and you know that's my favorite flavor.
That's
so.
why I do that, just to try to get a rise out of you.
Well, you got one today. So
There you go. Well, let's get into Wally's Weekly Wisdom for this week. And what's your topic for us today?
something we've never talked about called a quiet title action. The reason I brought this one up, Dave,
Okay.
is I have two of those going right now. One of these is a case. It's down south. It's a man, we helped him buy a home a few years ago. He's going to move back to California, but he inherited 110 or 120 acres, and he said, we've all agreed we're going to split the land this way. We got a survey done, and he said, I'd like to sell mine. And he said, I did have it listed with a realtor, and it wasn't selling, and he said, I think I need your experience. Here's what it came down to. He wants to be more competitive on his price, and he's afraid that his siblings wouldn't necessarily approve that. But this has not been deeded into, because there's a survey done,
Yes.
but a survey is nothing more than dividing 3 parcels on a piece of paper. The abstracts were built, but the kids have not all deeded to each other. Let's say it's Wally, Cindy, and Dave, and we're siblings.
Okay.
So I own this land on a piece of paper, but the only way I'm going to own that outright myself is if Dave and Cindy sign a deed that says, Wally, that part's now yours.
Okay.
Wally and Cindy sign deeds that says, Dave, this is your part. You and I sign deeds that says, Cindy, this is your
so
part.
it's not separated. All 3 still own the property, even though they've surveyed it into 3 equal land masses.
So they
but
got-
it's not legally each one of their own.
So they got into a little bit of a tiff there that separated the family. This
Okay.
requires a quiet title suit
Okay.
to just go fix this. Now, the other place that this happens a lot of times is not only inheritance disputes, but it can be with boundary disputes with neighbors. It could be on unoccupied abandoned homes, which is the other one I've got going. Doesn't have a tax-related issue, but the woman who owned the home. Now, my folks bought it at a tax sale. So in most every county, when taxes aren't paid on a property for 2 years, the home can be sold for the overdue taxes.
Okay.
But you have to go pay for the taxes, like for 2 years also. So let's say that someone owns a home. I'll keep this simple. They don't pay their taxes for 2 years. I'm Wally Kerr, and I go look on the tax rolls, and this person hasn't paid their taxes. If I go pay them for 2 years, and it's uncontested, I can typically own that home. Okay. So in this case, the lady had died. These folks bought it at tax sale. Unfortunately, tax sale does not do a search for liens or unpaid bills. This little lady who owned it owed $13,000 to the Department of Human Services as she had medical help.
Okay.
And so my folks bought it not knowing that that lien existed. They're doing a quiet title suit, and they did get the state to release that lien, but you should never bank on that. So it can be a situation like that. It could be adverse possession, where maybe a fence is sitting in the wrong spot. Nobody contests that for many, many years. And now you go in and get a quiet title suit going to just say, I've been using that land and it's mine, and you didn't say anything about it. So lawyers have explained the entire process. It's real simple, 4 steps. The person who claims to be interested has to research the ownership history of the property. Then they file a petition, and that's normally done by a lawyer, but parties can always represent themselves if they don't want to pay those fees, Dave. The 3rd step is to file a motion, which means there's going to be something done in a civil court. And then step 4 is where the case is heard in court. And if the defendant doesn't appear, that's like the owner of the property in an adverse possession case, they could lose the judgment by default. And an uncontested quiet action lawsuit generally costs $1,500 to $5,000. Cindy, we've had only a few of these over 36 years in real estate.
I don't think I've had one, as a matter of fact.
I think I have had 4 or 5 over the years, and in most cases, Dave, it's either been family members that didn't agree,
Sure.
or someone that passed away and it wasn't clear where the ownership was. This is called a quiet title action. It's a little bit complicated. Again, if you're a listener, you've got a family member, maybe it's you, maybe it's a friend, needs some advice. It's part of what we're here for on the show, right?
Yes.
We'd really love to earn your business. We consider it an honor to work for you or a family member or a friend, either selling or buying a home. But we're also here to be good consultants. That's called a quiet title action. And if you need some help with that or some advice, give me a call at 330-3000 and just ask for me.
Another great segment of Wally's Weekly Wisdom, for which I am now wiser for. So the next time I get the family together, especially if we have
Telling
a
you, eating those
disagreement-
donuts is making you wiser there, Dave.
Hey, and you know my brother Scott, and
I
he
do.
likes to cheat at Trivial Pursuit. So the next time we play that, he starts to
you're
cheat.
gonna clean up.
I'm gonna throw out there a quiet title lawsuit against him. He's gonna have no clue what I'm gonna talk about, and I'm gonna embellish a little bit so it makes me sound smarter than I am. But I am smarter for obviously listening to Wally's Weekly Wisdom this week. Hey, let's go ahead and jump into what you said. You have some fun and interesting facts for us this week.
Well,
What
you
would that
guys
be?
liked this, and this
Yes.
is mostly internet research, so it's not like our customers couldn't pull this up, but you'd have to go do the work that I did to find it. So I'm going to put you both on the hot seat. I'm going to have you both guess. How many bathrooms do you think, Cindy, are in the White House?
Oh, my.
How many bathrooms?
I'm going to say 50.
Oh, that's pretty close. I was going to say 40. I have a feeling that we're both under, but I'll just say 40.
There are 35.
Okay.
There are 35, and I believe there's something like 118 rooms in the White House.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. Now go quiz your friends this weekend at church on how many bathrooms there are in the White House. How about this one? I'll just tell you this fact. So the city of Venice, Italy is built on, you ready for this?
Yes.
118 small islands connected by over 400 bridges.
Huh.
I didn't know.
Do you know that?
No,
Dave, have you ever been to Italy?
I have not.
Okay. And I have not either. But Cindy, again, that's where your family's from.
That's right.
Tell our listeners a little bit more about where your family's from and how you ended up here.
Well, and my mother was born in Los Angeles, but my aunt, my mother's sister, who raised me, was born in Italy.
Oh, wow.
And in northern Italy. And we actually had some of the relatives come and visit. And when I was young, I remember that. And it was funny because they came, and I guess because we're Americans, they all thought we were ultra wealthy and they expected to be wined and dined, which kind of surprised us, you know, but it was cool.
Wasn't it what was the name of that fishing village your family was from?
Well, it was up by Milan, and it was called San Giusto Conovesi.
I'm sorry? Wow.
All right. So how about this one, you guys? Becoming mortgage-free was once so notable that people would adorn their homes with a symbol to let everyone know they were free of debt. So if you drive around in the U.S. in an older neighborhood or maybe own an older home,
Okay.
you may still find that symbol, which is typically a metal or cast iron eagle displayed on the property.
Really?
Now, I remember when I grew up on a street called Kansas Street down in Norman, I remember that Mr. Schaefer had a flagpole with a cast iron eagle on the top. Now, I assume that was patriotic.
Yeah.
Maybe he had his house paid off. Do you remember a few weeks back when we talked about people in Scotland?
Yes. Now, is this painting the door?
Yes.
Right, painting
Right.
their front door red to show they were
Yes,
mortgage free.
yes.
I didn't know until I researched questions for the two of you this week that that's what those cast iron or metal eagles were all about. You know, now, this is just in America, but to show that you were mortgage free.
You know, I'd like to see that promoted because I think we should take pride in being debt free. And I think there's not enough pride in being debt free. And that's a wonderful goal.
I agree. Okay, you two, last interesting fact today. I liked this one. How many times does the average person move in their life?
Oh, my God.
And this is from the U.S. Census Bureau.
I am going to say 7. No. I'm going to say 10.
10. Dave, what do you got for us?
Say it's higher. I don't know how much higher, so I'm going to say 11.
Ah,
Dave, it's 11.2. You did it, man. You did it. 11.2 is what the U.S. Census Bureau says. I saw some estimates that were closer to 12, but it looks like the number's right on the money at 11 to 12.
Wow,
So
okay.
we'll do a few more of those. I always think those are fun, just to throw in, give you a little thing to talk about, some general knowledge that you can
And
use
when he
during
gets
the week.
into Trivial Pursuit with his brother.
Yeah,
he's
you're
got
gonna
another
baffle your
tidbit.
friends this week.
Absolutely. Let's jump back into house talk. And we talked a couple of weeks ago, and I think we might have an update on this about how investors could be banned from buying single family homes in Oklahoma City. This is just, I mean, I think it's maybe countrywide, but even right here in Oklahoma City, where they can't start swallowing up all these homes. And tell us, what is the update, or maybe what was the precipitus of this whole law being formed and everything?
You know, Dave, I think it has to do totally with affordability. They've just gobbled up so many homes, and they've bought the affordable homes that they knew would rent for, there's the old 1% rule. Hey, if I go buy a home for $100,000, which you can't do today, let's say $150,000, I want it to rent for about 1% of that per month, about $1,500 per month. But you can't go buy an $800,000 home and go rent it for $8,000 per month. There's just not as many people that can rent at that level. So Democrats in the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives have sponsored legislation that they've now dubbed, and this is the update, the End Hedge Fund Control of American Homes Act.
Okay.
Do I need to say that again? So it would force large owners of single-family residences to sell their swath of homes. Dave, if this legislation passes, corporations would have to sell off all of the single-family homes they own over a 10-year period, so it's not an instant fix, right? At which point they would be barred from owning that type of property entirely again.
What do you think of this legislation, both of you? You just said, Dave, you thought this would be a good idea for the little guy to own their American dream, but what about, is it too restrictive to American investors?
Well, I think everything could change after the November presidential election, depending on the outcome. You know, in late 2022, institutional investors, what we're talking about here, like Wall Street investors, do you know they set aside a staggering $110 billion with a B aside to purchase or build single-family rentals.
So again, what is that doing to just the average American family that's trying to get into home purchasing?
Yeah, they just can't afford to buy. First-time buyers are locked out of the market, and we've talked about how millennials want to buy.
Yes.
Okay. Our Spanish population, our Mexican population here in the States, they believe truly that home ownership is what they want to get into.
Yes.
And it's just kind of been blocked with the prices of homes.
So who are these investors that they're going to be, like what are the companies or who are the people that they're going to be blocking?
Well, you know, David, it might actually be you. Because,
excuse me?
Well, do you have a 401k?
Yes.
Okay, so as part of your 401k, you might actually have invested, or your investment manager might have invested into publicly traded companies like KKR is one of them, Blackstone. You know, 10 years ago, our firm represented American Homes for Rent, which was located out of either Oregon or California. Dave, that year we helped them buy 144 homes in a single year and had an agent that broke her back to get that done.
Right here in the metro.
And what they did was they used the money of people like you and me.
Yes.
And we would go invest in this company, this REIT, a real estate investment trust, and they pooled the money from the investors all around the United States, and you would have been invested in homes all across the U.S. so that your risk was diversified with a minimum return, maybe 6, 7, or 8%. You had cash in the bank, and you had some stocks, and you had some mutual funds, and then you had this REIT of real estate. So, Dave, you might have actually been a part of what we call Wall Street investment titans.
Okay. I kind of like to hear that. Now, as you're explaining this to me, and as you just said that, Cindy's giving me this funny look because I feel like I just talked myself into a corner. I talked about how we need to do away with all these investors.
There's two sides
so
of it.
these families can come in and have, you know, be able to afford the American dream, if you will. And now I'm thinking I might be owning several homes in the metro, and I feel great about that. So now I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. We have a lot of investments, and a lot of times our investment planner will call, give me a brief description, and say, I think this is something we should get into because it's a good return. That's kind of what I'm really most interested in, is a good return.
Well, and it's for retirement. You know,
Yes.
there are a lot of folks just like you, Dave. You have a 401k. That's money and investments set aside so that you can retire comfortably.
And
one
I am
day.
interested in being called a Titan.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Dave, I think you're a titan of the airwaves, whether you know it, for as long as you've done this. But, Cindy, the truth is, we probably have a lot of listeners who may be invested in real estate and into some of these investment trusts that have bought up literally hundreds of thousands of properties across the U.S. And that's what this legislation, I'll say it one more time because it was tough, it's called the End Hedge Fund Control of American Homes Act, and it
Now,
is
not
certainly being
passed,
considered.
just proposed.
It is proposed legislation, but it will be interesting to see where it goes, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, stick around. We're going to wrap up the show next with a little bit more information about what the feds did this week and what does that mean for the future, the very near future of the home buying season. Stick around.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
Looking for a cash offer for your home? If so, do you want to see just one offer, or would you prefer to receive multiple cash offers and you get to choose the one you want? IWantMultipleOffers.com is the place to go, and that's exactly what you'll get fast. You choose the closing date, no open houses, no strangers in your home, and no waiting to receive an offer. You can sell as is. Today we know that homeowners like you want options. Our cash offer program, where you receive multiple offers, not just one, allows you to do what you want to do. If the cash offers aren't quite as high as you want, you still have the option of placing your home for sale for only as long as you want. 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, you choose. And if it's not sold in that agreed period, you can take any one of the cash offers, including one from us. Visit IWantMultipleOffers.com. Get the options you want, or just give us a call today. Wally and Cindy Kerr at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful. From knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
Who do you know that's struggling with their real estate career? I'm offering a guaranteed income of $60,000 over the next 12 months, or I'll pay them the difference. Have them call Wally at 330-3000 today, because Wally has the buyers at Kerr Team Real Estate. 330-3000.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Wally, at the first of the show, you briefly mentioned that the feds met this week. We talked just a little bit about it and left its rate unchanged, which I believe was expected. We kind of thought that could happen. Give us the Cliff Notes summary of what else was said and what your analysis is in relation to the housing market as well.
You're right. They left the Fed rate alone, but you're going to be surprised to hear the outcome of that. So let me just give a preface here and just say, as the year started this year, 9 out of 10 economists had forecast that the Fed would cut its rate at least by the May meeting, right?
Yes.
We thought March and then May, and then shifting economic winds and stubbornly high inflation has that complicated their decision to potentially lower rates. And so guess what happened on Wednesday? So when the Fed decided to keep its rate where it is, the stock market rallied big time. If you've been watching your portfolio.
Good for your 401k.
That's right.
Well, the Dow on Wednesday needed a boost. It's been clobbered by about 2,000 points over the last 4 or 5 or 6 weeks. Do you know the Dow was up 480 points midday Wednesday, right after the announcement by the Fed that they would keep rates the same? What does that tell you? So why did investors go in and get really excited? Because the Fed didn't raise its rate. And that was something that was potentially being considered, really not expected. But we've got stubbornly high inflation. That personal consumption index came out, it was too hot. The inflation index came out, it was too hot. Americans are working, the unemployment is this real big low. So Still stubborn inflation, but the good news was, here we were talking at the first of the year about, hey, rates are going to go down 2 or 3 or 4 times this year. Some people were speculating 5.
Yes.
Now most economists believe there will be no rate cut this year. So we went from 3 or 4 or 5 to no rate cuts to even the expectation that at this meeting on May 1st, that the rates could actually go up. And that would have been bad for the real estate market. And it also would be really bad for commercial real estate. Banks hold a lot of notes on commercial real estate.
Yes.
And those notes will renew every 5 years. And so if rates go up, now you've got those notes going up higher in those payments and the cost for businesses to borrow money. When businesses, Dave, can borrow money at a lower rate, at a lower interest rate, that makes it easier for them to employ people and pay them more money.
And invest in equipment and just grow.
So car loans, credit card payments, second mortgages, and home equity lines of credit that we call a HELOC, all of those would be affected by rates going up. Yes. So that's what made Wall Street cheer this week, was when the announcement was, yeah, they're not going down, but they're not going up, and we're going to keep them the same. And the economists said, phew, because we were really worried that they were going to go up,
yes,
and that would have hurt the market. So for home buyers and sellers, it's pretty good news.
Okay. Well, because I was thinking that people have been waiting and waiting,
and they're going to wait longer
down. Mm-hmm. So that is going to make them wait a little bit longer. But how long are they going to wait? If we're into the buying season now and those rates aren't going to come down, but they're not going up either. So it's kind of a catch-22, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but
there really is no reason to wait. If you can qualify for a loan right now, you're not going to be faced with all the competition if rates just go down slightly.
That's
so
true.
Really,
yes.
This is the time. If you have a need to buy and you can qualify, this is the time.
Here's the good news. Yeah, some of these price ranges, 175, 200, 250, that's a red-hot price range around most of the metro. But the truth is, we talked about this earlier, and we can close with this thought, is that there are fewer buyers out there this year. You're going to have a little less competition, which gives you a bit of an upper hand. Here we're at the hot part of the market. The last 3 or 4 years, it was really hard to get a home bought. People are buying. They want to get into home ownership. They believe home values will continue to increase, and I absolutely stand behind that thought. The inventories are very low of available homes. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go buy a widget today, boy, I remember in economics back at the University of Oklahoma, how many times did my professor use the word widget?
Yes.
And, if there's 100,000 widgets for sale, there's a price. But if there's only 8,000 widgets for sale, that price is a lot higher, right?
Yes.
If people want
the
widgets.
old supply and demand.
So they want homes today, and there are fewer homes for sale. So even though rates are higher, home values will continue to increase, and this is a good time to buy.
Well, that sounds like it was really good news there that we heard this week. We know that the feds aren't going to raise their rates, which is really good for
not for
home
now.
buyers
That's right.
and sellers right now. Mm-hmm. So again, it's a win-win for both of them.
It really is, and it spiked. Yeah, and it spiked the markets so well. For the Dow and the Nasdaq and S&P.
Yes,
and most people have got investments or 401ks. And a lot of those are based on what the market's doing.
Yes, we do.
That was good news.
And I don't know how many houses my 401ks own
You're a
right
real
now.
estate titan.
I am a
go
titan.
back and take a little more interest in that now.
I do like that. I'm going to come put that on my business card that I'm a titan. Hey, if you just got on at the last part of the show with us and you're listening Saturday, don't forget you can tune in tomorrow. Sundays at noon is when the replay is, so you can hear the entire show then. Or don't forget that the shows are syndicated to Google, Apple, Spotify, the iHeart podcast platforms, or just go to wallytalkshouses.com. Again, Wally, you mentioned that little green button at the top right of the screen. Click the word follow and you'll get notified when the new shows are added. Generally, about Wednesday of each week is when the previous weekend show has been added to it.
That's right. The marketing staff, they're pretty
they're on
systematized on that.
Yes.
So, and by the way, when you click the follow button, that doesn't mean Wally or Cindy is going to follow you in your car around town, but you will get notified of the shows. We really appreciate having our listeners on. I just want to say, again, it would be a privilege and an honor to help you or a friend or a family member in any way, whether it's buying or selling a home or investing in real estate.
We certainly want you to tune in with us next weekend. Make sure you listen on Saturday. We know the replays are on Sundays, but we're not holding you to it next Sunday because it is Mother's Day. So we'll wish you a happy Mother's Day again next Saturday, but if you're going to be out of town, happy Mother's Day a week in advance to everybody, especially you, Cindy.
Thank you.
And I'm going to share and find some very special Mother's Day stories to share with our listeners. We'll take a few minutes to do that. Dave, have a great weekend. Great being on the show with you. Look forward to seeing you next Saturday.
See you next Saturday.
You've been listening to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr. Heard every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and replayed on Sundays at noon here on 1520 a.m. and 95.3 FM KOKC. Wally's name is his promise. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. To speak with Wally directly about selling your home or buying, call or text him to schedule an appointment at 405-330-3000, 405-330-3000, or go to wallysguarantee.com. That's wallysguarantee.com.